Frank Sinatra once saying, I've been up and down and over.
The wait is over. You were waiting, right?
Oh, God. No. Please, no.
The end is nigh. Darwin and Cat are back.
Frank Sinatra once saying, I've been up and down and over and out. And I know one thing. Each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. The lyrics to the song, That's Life, certainly apply to us. On this episode, we're talking about whatever happened to us between the time our show ended and this podcast started. And no, despite the title, Kat did not lock a wheelchair-bound Darwin, me, up in our mansion and leave me to die on the beach while getting ice cream.
So, Darwin, as we talked about, I love that. As we talked about in our podcast episode, Darwin and Cat Go to War, our show ended dramatically. And if you're listening, all the dirt is in that episode if you want to check it out. But suffice to say, Darwin left the show and I limped along miserably solo for 2 months. One morning, Kevin, the PD, and the HR lady called me into the big office and the axe fell. I was being replaced by Mulrooney and Bubbles. John Mulrooney, veteran,
Old
comedian, and his girl Bubbles, who I think was hired just to giggle at his jokes.
Yeah, but except, sorry, he's kind of the comedian that's got I call it a funny box at home, except for his was empty.
Is this from the Rockford Files?
Yes.
I love that.
Good catch there. There was a whole episode where there's this comedian whose funny box is stolen. It was his joke box and he wasn't actually funny. So yeah.
So no funny box or very
funny.
Empty funny box. So I just, so that show goes on the air and I just could not listen to it. The only time I heard any part of it was my cat, Alex, jumped on my clock radio and I heard, maybe a few seconds of it. You've never seen me move so fast. I think I hit that thing with a baseball bat.
I mean, that must have been also horrifying because when you leave a station and it's not by your own choice, you just don't want to, listen to it. You don't want to know the station exists and you just don't want to hear any of it at all. And it probably was especially painful to hear like at something that was not funny.
It was awful, but at first, they wanted me to think that I wasn't leaving. They actually had me meet with Mulrooney, and I think they knew the whole time that he was going to be the show, but they were kind of seeing if they could bring me in on it in some capacity. Did I tell you about this? Well, I had breakfast with Mulrooney.
No, I mean, this is just to pause on that. Like, I left. You should have kind of been like a vice president, elevated to president type thing. I'm not saying I was president, but like, you should have been made the lead where they brought in somebody to, because you were the established talent on the morning show. They should have brought somebody in as the other part. And instead they kind of pushed me out. But you know how it is in radio. Sometimes they just want to wipe the slate clean. But they had me think that, we're going to have you with Mulrooney. And they really talked him up like he's this really professional, hilarious, established comedian. Like, okay, well, let's see if we have any chemistry. So we went to some breakfast place and he's kind of laying out his vision for the show. And I'm just like horrified, Darwin, because it was everything we hate. You know how we were the anti-morning show? He was laying out these really corny bits and just stuff from like the 1970s. What my role would be to laugh and support him. And I said, John, I'm not a fucking giggle girl. And he just got this look on his face. And then shortly after that, I was called into the office and that was it for me. No giggling for me. They just let me go. There was no place for me. They knew you were going to say that.
Of course. I mean,
you were never the giggle girl.
Well, no, because even when we were doing the show, we were like, hey, we're both the hosts of this show. We didn't even say co-host, which I'm fine with co-host. I embrace that. But there was no sidekick. There was no giggle person on our show.
And when people would say, oh, she's your sidekick, I would always immediately shut that down. Right. There was misogyny in that too.
There is. Sidekick is a really specific thing. Sidekick doesn't say a whole lot. It just, he or she just adds a little spice. And we were both hogging the mic, so I was not a sidekick.
And my name went first because it flowed better. Really, that was it.
That was it. People are like, why isn't it Cat and Darwin? I'm like, I don't know. Darwin and Cat just flows. And I'm like, no, it's got to be Darwin and Cat. It's musical. I'm a drummer. Music. Do, 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 do. Darwin and Cat.
And that's it. That was literally it. I wasn't more important. I wasn't the star of the show. I was around the market longer. Yeah, but that didn't matter. That was it, literally. And it was, you were the show. I was the show.
Yep.
We were the show. And it was, I mean, it was just more of the cruelty. It was almost like they were trying to tell themselves they were doing something nice for you.
I think they knew the whole time. They just wanted to keep me happy or just like a carrot dangling. So I would fill that slot in the morning until Mulrooney and Bubbles could take over with their shit show.
And they could sleep at night going, well, we tried to help Kat. I think they did it for themselves too.
Yeah. I mean, she's the one who choked and ruined it for herself and didn't want to giggle. So yeah, her fault. Bye.
See? Yeah. So what happens after this? I mean, you're out and it's depressing.
Yeah. Well, I got the boot. Of course, when you get the boot and it's not through your own fault, you might be able to get unemployment benefits. So I drove to the unemployment office. I'm just this anonymous person waiting in line. And that's when a listener walked up to me and said, "Hey, are you Cat?" And I said, "Yeah." "Oh my God, I love you guys. I love Darwin and Cat." She asked me for an autograph.
Oh, salt in the wound.
So weird. I'm standing in the unemployment line and I'm like, I want to be nice. And I'm like, okay. So I start signing her little piece of paper. God, that was just the lowest point. And as I was signing, I glance over at a table, and Darwin, I saw you. I saw you on the cover of the Times Union, which is the local paper in the Albany area. And you're on the cover and it's announcing your new morning gig on EQX. But here's the really fucked up part. You were there with Fred the cat, the station cat. So it was Darwin and Cat, but it was an actual cat that shits in a box. And that was a rock bottom right there. That was a rock bottom.
Wow. And I never would have thought of that. Like that it would be right.
But I thought it was intentional. I thought it was intentional. Which, okay, we love R.I.P. Fred. We loved you. He was always jumping in any picture. He was always sitting, on the board. But I thought it was intentional. Like, this is the new Darwin and Cat.
No, that was, so what happens, the Times Union was doing a story on EQX. They came up and there was a group photo later on, but I was in the production studio and the reporter was talking to me while I was doing production, and Fred had wandered in.
Of course, he's a cat.
Yep. And he jumped on my lap while I was talking to the reporter, and the reporter happened to snap that photo. They happened to just decide that was the photo they were going with.
Wow.
And because I had returned to the station, they made a big deal out of the fact I was back, and that they made that kind of the main idea of this article. So it rubbed people there a little bit the wrong way too, because I think it was supposed to be about the station, and it became more about me. That didn't do me favors there either.
Wow.
It wasn't my choice.
I thought it was totally intentional. I'm like, wow, I feel like I just got stabbed in the face. But you know what? Cool. So long ago, I just roll my eyes.
Like if I would have looked at that, like if it was the other way around, I would have just looked at that and just like let out a primal scream.
But have you ever signed an autograph in the unemployment line?
I would have been like, I'm here to get a raise.
That was so pathetic. Oh my God. So after that, it gets a little worse for me. So
how does it get worse than that?
Well, I was trying to figure out what to do with my life. So, of course, I asked a fellow radio person what to do. She's a very good friend of mine. She's doing mornings on the mom music station. And she said, you really need to go see my psychic. And I'm like, fine, whatever. I'm into the woo-woo stuff. I'll go see your psychic. So it was inside a witchy store, and I'm no stranger to that. You know me. You walk in and there's a one-eyed black cat, and there's some incense and there's some penis candles. And I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm home. I'm talking to this psychic and I'm laying out all my troubles. I'm probably sharing way, way too much. And she said to me, it's pretty obvious what's causing, all your problems. And I said, really? Wow, maybe she really knows something. And she said, yeah, I can tell by your aura that you need the comforting sapphic love of a woman. And I'm like, wait, what? I mean, I love the gays and ladies are awesome, but I'm into guys, or at least Darwin. This is what I'm saying in my head. Okay. I was such a pleaser that instead of telling her, cool, but I'm not gay, I'm not lesbian, whatever, I listened to her and I just nodded the whole time while she laid out this future lesbian plan for me, rather than offend her and telling her that, I like the Wayne.
Where you're sitting there like, I'm picturing Miss Cleo like, in your future, I see you cat as a scissor sister. Like, you just need to go get some Fiskas.
You will be going scissoring into the sunset and you'll be so happy. Yeah.
You got to go down Joanne Fabrics. Get yourself scissors. Oh my God.
I pictured you with a lot of keys and you will know how to jimmy a window because your lady lover will show you.
They always have a lot of keys because they move a lot. That's true.
Exactly. So that didn't help a whole lot.
I don't know. I think being in the unemployment line, getting an autograph, and there I am smiling with the cat is a little worse than
I don't know. Let me weigh it. Mm-hmm. So then just not long after that, I just wanted to go back home to California and I moved to LA. And here's the speed dating version of it. I got divorced. I restarted my life. Oh, I met a very wealthy woman of society and I ghost wrote her advice book. But I cannot tell you who it is because I have an NDA. But I will say that her house was so big, I got lost in it my first day, and I sat on her tiny dog, but he lived. First day, First day. I was like, God, what's this? And what's this lump, Princess and the Pea? Oh my God. I'm sorry, Teacup. I'm sorry.
And she kept you anyway.
Yeah, I was that good. I'm a good writer.
You are. You're an excellent writer. You got lost in her house and then you tried to kill her dog.
Yeah, well, I didn't try. It just almost happened. Yeah, I was going down a hallway and I'm like, I don't even know where I am. It was like, I need a big wheel like in The Shining. Like, how do I get around this place?
Wow. I can't remember at this point if I had gotten drunk on the Yellow Snow IPA and reached out to you yet or not. I don't remember if we had made good and started cautiously talking yet.
Yes, at this point, we were dipping our toe in the friendship water.
We were rebuilding trust at this point. Mm-hmm. That's right. Because I didn't see you, I think you were back in LA, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the timeline. Yeah, because I didn't see you before you left. That's right. Because I didn't think I knew you had gone back.
Oh, you didn't come to my going away party. No, you weren't there.
I don't think
I guess I didn't invite you. Okay, well, I had a going away party.
I don't blame you.
Someone almost punched me at that party.
What?
Well, it was at a wine bar. So it wasn't even any hard alcohol. We were just sipping our wine and being all fancy. Everyone saying, "Oh, bye, cat. We love you."
Wait, was this my fault?
No, this is not your fault. But here's how I almost got punched at a bar. So I'm standing talking to someone, not our boss, but the big boss over him, was telling a story and made this grand gesture where he threw his hand out. His hand slapped into mine and my drink went all over this guy. And he wanted to kill me. And it wasn't my fault. So there, I almost got in a wine bar fight. That doesn't sound very tough.
No, but it was a sign it's time to get out of Albany.
It's time to get the hell out of Albany.
Albany was not good to you, at least toward the end.
I have a little more, but I want to hear from you what happened to you.
But before, have you done more ghostwriting at all?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I ghostwrite for a bevy of clients. I went and I finished school. I got my master's in English professional writing. I started drumming again in a lot of punk rock bands who were, I don't know, largely terrible, but it was fun. Here's the big one, though. Here's the big thing in my life. I re-met and married my former high school boyfriend, who is amazing. We've been together for almost 15 years this year. We blended our families, and oh my God, it totally worked out. Like, my kid is happy. His stepkids are amazing. And with stepkids, it's tricky, right? But I swear there was not one day of them looking at me going, "I hate you. You're not my real mom. I hope you die." Like, that never happened. We just
you're cool.
Well, thank you. We just organically formed this bond and relationship, and I feel like they came out of my body. I know that's kind of gross, but whatever. I love them. Yeah, that was vivid. You can see my stepkids crowning. I'm sorry. But that sort of catches us up to today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. It's good. And it worked out. Well, for me.
Yeah. See, I just want to sit back and listen to this.
And I actually have that newspaper. It's in this trunk I have right here. I actually have that paper.
Oh,
so
God.
If you want to be traumatized,
my PTSD is coming back.
Yeah, I can actually dig it out over. My mother laminated it for me because she was excited.
Why? Because she thought I'd puke on it if I ever saw it?
No, I don't think she was excited I was on the cover of a paper. And
I would be too. I would be very proud of you as a mom.
Wasn't going to prison or something, right? So despite some good-looking press, though, on the outside, things weren't going so well for me at EQX. And suffice it to say, the grass was not greener on the other side. A lot of things had changed since I left, and I was soon out of a job too. So that was that. And a week after I lost my job, I went ahead and got married, even though every red light was blinking in the universe not to, because that relationship was going south way before that, and went ahead and got married anyway. And, that was on the rocks forever.
And that was
just move at that point.
That was a precarious time. I just got to jump in for gay marriage because I think it was okay in some states and not okay in other states.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm remembering back. It was not legal
everywhere. It was a
everywhere.
patchwork quilt.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay.
It was a whole messy thing. You got it. And it was just a mess. I think two things happened. I got caught up in the hype of everyone was excited about this wedding except for me. And I didn't want to let people down. Plus, I had all this changes and instability in my life. And I think I just wanted something solid and went ahead with it. And you actually, I was surprised because you actually did something really nice when you heard I got married.
I sent you a wedding gift.
Yeah, a really nice spice rack. Like, it was like a really nice one. And my ex threw it out because he thought you put some spell on it.
He was convinced I put like devil sprinkles in the oregano, which I hadn't. He's like, Cat's a witch and they can hide witchy stuff in spices. And I'm like, wow, I never heard of that, but okay, maybe next time. It was sometimes a spice rack is just a spice rack.
I think it came back to the time I was trying to help you with a cow's tongue, that leave it at a crossroads, and there was a whole thing.
Okay, I have done a few spells, but I would never do a spell in you.
But it was a whole caper, and he was convinced the spice rack was your way to...
Okay, maybe he had a point. But I swear on kittens in the universe, there was nothing malicious in that spice rack.
Well, I'm still mad about it. It was a nice spice rack.
It was. Yeah.
But thank you. That was very sweet of you.
You're welcome.
You're a nice person.
Well, thanks.
But the marriage didn't last long, so maybe the spice rack lasted longer. I don't know.
It's in a landfill somewhere. It still hasn't disintegrated.
It lasted longer. This gets weird. I ended up having to get divorced because we got married in Massachusetts, but we lived in New York. New York recognized marriages from other states, but didn't allow you to get married in New York at that time.
Oh, right. Yeah. As I was saying, it was complicated.
Yes. But I had to get divorced in New York because it was legal. I was legally recognized as married, although I could not get married here at that time.
What a cluster.
It was. And as a result, I actually have the first no-fault gay divorce in New York State. Yay me. So it was this really crazy zigzag of what? Yeah, I had to do that.
Did you go to a lawyer and he was looking at this complicated case and you just want to blow his brains out? Or did you file it yourself?
A little bit of both. I consulted with a lawyer because it was no fault was a new law in New York. It was one of the last states to allow no fault.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yeah. So that's why I'm the first no fault gay divorce.
That's right.
So the lawyer looked it over and basically gave the advice what we had to do and got everything squared away. So we meet with a third party who is a notary who has to witness signing all the paperwork. There's a whole story that gets crazy too. And we end up at this outdoor bar and we're signing the paperwork, and there's a lot of paperwork to sign. And this car pulls up at the intersection and it was like lighting a gas stove. Boom, just caught fire.
Oh my God.
So this car's like, boom. And the wait staff's like, oh my God, everyone's got to get out. And the fire department happened to be driving by as this is happening. So they do a U-turn with the fire truck and they're like, get everybody out of here. Everybody to the back parking lot. So we end up signing the divorce paperwork on a dumpster.
Wow. There are signs from the universe. Dumpster and fire.
And signing divorce paperwork on a dumpster. How fitting. So
that is perfect.
Yeah. As this is all happening, New York actually then votes to legalize gay marriage. Mm-hmm. This was in the span of while the divorce was pending. As luck would have it, I met the person I'm married to now as the divorce was finalized. We've been together it'll be 14 years in August, and we'll be married 13 coming up in November.
And he's wonderful. Have to say, I did meet him, and he's a gem.
Thank you. I know, and you've met him, and I have.
Mm-hmm. You have not met Eric yet.
No, I have not.
Only by
Chris
Zoom.
Absolutely loves you.
Yeah.
Yes, and Eric's fantastic, and I see how happy you are, and which is so important too. We have stable, great relationships with people that really love us. And
it's great not being completely miserable.
Yeah.
And signing things on a dumpster.
I know. It's like. And it's great too, and and Chris absolutely loves you. Just absolutely loves you. And he listened to our show before ever knowing me. And
that blows my mind.
Yeah, it was just crazy because when he met me and then he found out who I was, he was like,
did he listen to that? Did he listen like, oh my God, I hate that guy. Oh God, that girl's even worse. Or was he actually like a fan? Did he like it? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, because I didn't offer that up on the first date or 2 or 3. It kind of came out a little bit later.
Well, on the first date, you don't want to show all your crazy cards. And this show is kind of a crazy card.
Yeah, the first date, I'm not like, yeah, so I'm that guy that hosted Name That Disorder with Kat. You know, that not necessarily.
I'm that guy who got his ass waxed on the air.
Oh, God, that too. It's just kind of one of those. Yeah, that doesn't make it a great first impression. He ended up being a fan. And when I mentioned, he was like, that's why you sound so familiar. I'm like, yeah.
You can't hide your voice. You can't disguise it.
I have a very distinctive voice. Yeah. I try. It doesn't work. During that time, too, I also got a master's in history and then a second master's in teaching. I ran for office. I was an elected official.
Oh, wow. And I think you had a beard then. It was like you were very official.
Briefly. It was a fundraiser thing. I grew this ugly, horrible beard for a fundraiser.
Okay.
thing.
I thought it was very distinguished.
I hated it. It was awful. It was hideous. Yeah. Yeah. You found the picture of that and you were like,
I did.
What? Oh, I hate that. All right. So
I had it laminated, that picture, actually.
I guess it made you puke, right? That was on the cover of another paper. So,
whoa, you're fancy.
Yeah. Well, that was during the water crisis the town we were living in had, and I ran for office, and it was kind of a big deal. So life, though, it's really, life has had these unexpected and unpredictable journey. I think if you went back in time and told 28-year-old me in 2008 when our show ended, I'd be a very patient person and a high school teacher. I would still be laughing at you right now.
In 2008, if you'd told me that in 2025, I'd be married to my high school boyfriend and working with Darwin again, I would ask you to get serious help for your delusions.
You might have thought that psychic had more truth than that.
Possibly.
Statement.
Come on in, ladies.
I bummed around radio for a bit, too, after all this. I ended up back at Albany Broadcasting.
Wait, no, what? Our old company that gave me the boot? No, I didn't. I wow, I want to hear this.
So Jackie Donovan, who was a really good friend of ours, she brought me back in and I was doing some stringer reporting and some news anchoring for 590 when it was still News Talk. So I would be top of the newscast. You'd be like, News Talk 590 News Time. And I had to use my real name because Darwin's not my full real name. But I'd be all professional, right? And I was out covering news stories. I was out of campaigns. I was covering the Joe Bruno trial for the radio station. I did some fill-in on their talk. Like if one of the hosts was out, I'd do the fill-in for the talk show.
Well, you mean you weren't doing voicemails from the park masturbator? You were doing real, actual news?
Yeah, very serious news and political talk. And it was crazy. And then I was also doing some board op work, which was kind of humiliating to be board opping for the River Rats game.
Yeah, it's kind of a step down.
Like push a button. And but it was just to make some money. And from there, Kelly, who we talk about a lot, B95 Kelly.
Shock!
Yep, that her. She ended up hired at Talk 1300. Paul Vandenberg, who we worked with, bought his own station. And he basically was trying to launch a Saturday night trivia show that he wanted to syndicate live across the country. It was a great idea.
Yeah.
And Kelly was hosting it. And I don't know if you ever heard it. She was really good at it. It was a really great show.
Oh, Kelly's awesome. She's a total pro. She's just great at what she does.
And it was the idea to take bar trivia, but make it a radio-based thing. The whole idea was play at home, and it was supposed to be a nationwide trivia show. And it was a great concept. So I was the producer for it. Would be on with her periodically. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, but it didn't take off. So I ended up going over to Town Square Media in a local role, and then I got a corporate role, and then I was working 7 days a week, and that was just becoming a nightmare, and kind of did my own thing with marketing and PR, my own business, did journalism for a while, and just trying to figure out what I want to do. Ended up being the communication officer for a school district, and then I thought, hey, I want to go into teaching. I want to leave broadcasting that pays crap and do a different career that pays crap, teaching.
But aren't you still on the air sometimes, right? You're still doing that.
I do. I voice track for WEXT, public station, once a week. And sometimes I fill in for them just as a favor. Yeah. But we did try to do this podcast a few times. Do you remember we've tried this a few false starts over the years and we didn't direction?
We did maybe 2 or 3 shows in 2012, 2013. And what else?
I think we tried it a few episodes here and there in 2014, 15. Then we just called it quits. Well, we didn't have any direction and it was sporadic. And it just, I think we were trying to talk about this earlier and you were like, I don't remember much of it.
Yeah. What do you remember?
All I remember is there was one episode. It's something to do with a toilet on a front lawn, and maybe it belonged to Davy Jones or something.
I blocked that out. Oh no, Davy Jones had died, and we tied it into the fact that the house I was living in LA, we had to replace our toilet, and the plumber had told us to put the toilet on our lawn. And we were afraid that homeless people were just going to like come and use it. I don't know how we tied it into the monkeys, but somehow the magic of our show.
I can see why we abandoned it.
Yeah. We didn't really have any sort of plan for that podcast.
No, I think we just turned on basically, there wasn't even Zoom then, but somehow we were doing this somehow, right?
I think it was the ye olde days of Skype.
Skype, yes, we were trying to Skype. That's right. And we were like, I don't know. It was kind of like later on, Lucille Ball tried to come back in the 1980s with the show Life with Lucy, and it didn't go well.
That was end stage Lucy. Yeah. When she was like, Morty, goddammit, get me my highball.
You laugh at this, okay? Actually, she was still funny in the show. It was the supporting cast that was terrible, but we will analyze that some other time. Wow. So the toilets, I remember there was a picture on the website. It was just a toilet that someone had taken at night, a picture of with a flash, and it was very washed out. And
we've always been classy, always.
So we did give this a lot of thought, and we've been talking about this for years of just casual discussion. And we finally came up with a plan. And yes, this podcast actually has a lot of planning that goes into it. Those of you listening right now, yes, but it's just the two of us and nobody else. And it's low budget, but we love what we do. And we really admire each other. And we need this show in our lives. That's why we do this.
That's so true, Darwin. I don't know if you know this, but I have been doing a show with you in my head since the whole thing died. I'm just driving along and I'm talking to you like a crazy person. I hear something on the air and I'm like, Darwin, blah, blah, and I just start talking to you.
I'm in your head. I'm in your back seat. You know, I have that effect on people. I shouldn't go on subway platforms. Be like that voice.
You are in my head, and good luck getting rid of me this time.
I'm not going to do it. No, you're not getting rid of me this time either. But in all seriousness, there's times though that things happen in the world, and I think, how would Kat and I talk about this? Or I hear some really shitty thing on a podcast or radio, and I'm like, we could do better. People have us forever tied together. People will always see me, and they always thought we were together at EQX too.
That's always true. We had separate day parts. You were the night guy, and I was weekends, and then I would fill in for anybody who ate a bad clam. And I did every day part except for afternoons, because those buttons were really technical and very hard to do that solo. But I think as far as us being on the air together, we were only on EQX together maybe twice.
Besides a crossover, if I was
not including crossing.
Yeah, not counting those. Yeah, it wasn't much. People in our minds, though, people always ask, how's Kat? And it was awkward during the time we were at odds, and I'd have to be like, oh.
Who wants to know?
Why do you care? But it was something. Do you remember, now once we buried the hatchet, like you said, good luck getting rid of this time. I don't want to get rid of you this time at all, ever. We've been really good about keeping in touch since we finally buried the hatchet. Do you remember your birthday in 2011, specifically 2011?
Yes, that was a spectacular birthday. So at that time, I was living with my friend Lisa in her fabulous Hollywood house. And a big birthday party was planned for me that night. And when I woke up, I saw the news that a big celebrity had passed away. And then I looked at my phone and I read a text from you.
I was driving along and my ADHD kicked in. It struck me as I was listening to the radio, and I heard the news of the celebrity death, and I was like, oh shit, it's Kat's birthday. So I pulled over to get gas or something, and I'm like, I need to tell her about the celebrity death too. So it all got jumbled in text. I'm texting you and I'm like, Amy Winehouse is dead. Happy birthday.
And you wish me that every year since. Happy birthday, Amy Winehouse is still dead. What a great day she picked.
We made this a weird game for like every a year afterwards.
As soon as I forget.
Every time a celebrity died, we text one another, whoever got to it first. So-and-so died. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Lauren Green is dead. Oh, is he dead? Probably.
Who?
From Bonanza.
Who's that? Oh, him. I don't know. Is he?
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I don't know. Yeah, it's just like, I'm such an idiot sometimes. Like, what a text. Like, just, how did you feel when you got that? Were you like, oh, Darwin?
Well, it inspired a birthday cake.
Did it?
Lisa and I got to post this. Lisa and I ran out to a bakery that could take a picture and, of anything and make it like in the frosting. And we had a Amy Winehouse's dead cake. Happy birthday. So you were kind of the hit of the party. You weren't even there.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
And I love Amy. I do. And it's very sad. But wow, the timing. Uncanny.
Oh, I do too. I loved Amy Winehouse. I was sad. So I wanted to tell you, like, Amy Winehouse is dead, but it somehow became your birthday text.
Well, you told me.
I think there were so many celebrities after that we just kept tossing back and forth. I think the one you got me on was Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston is dead. Happy birthday. Have a bowl of hot Whitney soup.
Yeah, there was that.
That was a good one. But it became this like...
She made her own broth,
game.
the poor dear.
It became this game when there was a celebrity death to see which one of us could get to the other one
I know,
first.
and sometimes we would be texting like right at the same time.
At the same time. Although sometimes I have an advantage on the East Coast where I might be awake before you.
Well, you live in the future, Magic Man.
Although sometimes I'm asleep and I might wake up in the morning and one died overnight. And
so
I'm
there's that.
I know. We just kind of tapered off of that after a while. It got old.
It'll come back just like us.
Yeah, we're right. It will. So, but it's been good. I think, life, it's had those ups and downs, and I'm so glad we came back to doing what we do. And it does come full circle, doesn't it?
Yeah. Whatever this is. I'm very, very happy to be back.
Me too. And one last note I want to throw in here so one of the things we do is we have a Google Doc and we put together our notes so we have an idea of a rundown. That's what you do when you do a show. And I noticed you were going through and fixing punctuation.
Oh, you noticed that? I was
Kat was capitalizing my chicken scratch sentences.
Okay.
And I was like,
so what I didn't mention is in these subsequent years, I've also been working as a copy editor and a marketing writer for a couple of big Las Vegas hotels. And it's just a habit. You just have to accept it.
It was great. I saw in the Google Doc.
I'm that nerd with a red pen.
I don't mind. It was just funny. I thought
Darwin, an adverb should be here.
You were fixing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay. So, that master's degree is being put to good work.
I graded your paper too. I'll have that to you later in the day. Yeah.
Oh, great. All right. Well, I'm glad everything worked out for the best here. Now, all we need is somebody to actually start paying us for the show. Then we're going to be in a good spot.
Like in real money that can buy things. And I really want to get my hair done. So please smash that like button.
Yeah. And tell your friends to subscribe to the show as well. And just a sidebar. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and so this record date, we're mid-February and getting toward the end of February by the time this episode will drop. Share this with your friends so they can have a distraction from what's going on in the world. You need to take a break for yourself. You need to laugh, and you need to actually not be so consumed with the news and everything happening. I think our show's a great way to do that.
And where else can you hear about Amy Winehouse and toilets in depth like we cover these things?
Hard hitting, in depth. You got it. And also, it's just two friends getting together to talk about how radio shaped our lives and where we're at today. What more do you need to brighten your day besides $1 million or $2?
That's all I need. Darwin, I'm just so happy to be back.
It's great to be back too.